Hey guys, got another modification for the Comanche. I'm gonna do a Cowl air intake. This is from Trailhead Off-Road. Ultimately, I want to get rid of my air box over there, the stock air box. Put the filter up this way to give me some more room in that area, that wheel well. I'm using it for, I hope to go into coilovers here in the near future, and I need to get rid of that air box to get some real estate over there. Other people do this modification to get an extra battery, or do onboard air, or put storage containers, or whatever you want over there. Like I said, my end goal is to get coilover, so I need to open up that space. So that'll go away, intake goes on. Essentially what we're doing, this tube's gonna connect to the throttle body, and our new filter's gonna go behind this firewall here. So this will come down, and I'm gonna open up that area right here. So of course that'll go there, filter behind that. Like I said, I need room because my current stock suspension on 44s and tons is sucking. I've got some spacers, some coil springs. You can see those springs are not very happy. It's worked for a while. It's worked surprisingly well, better than it probably should, but I need to finally upgrade and do some coilover. So again, open up that space. I'll have to relocate my battery, washer, overflow rather, all that kind of stuff. But again, ultimately the end goal, clear this up, get rid of all this space. So we'll jump to it. First thing, I'm gonna leave this here, so I'm not gonna get all the debris and everything inside my throttle body, so I'm gonna leave that hooked up, but I'm gonna start working on that over there. All right, so you can see I've got the engine bay kind of covered up, protected, so I'm not shooting sparks and everything else on all my engine components. Ultimately, I need to get to this right here. You may have to do something a little bit different because mine is actually an 88 Comanche with a 99 drivetrain in it. So I've already modified it a little bit. This wasn't here before. Like I said, yours might be in a slightly different location, but just kind of go with it. So this needs to come off, and you need to get your electrical out of the way because again, we're opening up this hole right here. So let's do that. All right, easy enough. A couple screws. Again, this will get relocated, so let's move that out of the way and pop that out of the way. So now we've got access to it. Now there's two ways of doing this. You can simply just put that right here, draw out your circle, keep opening it up step by step, make sure you're not to trim too much, or you can go onto Trailhead's website and they've got a template. So I printed this out on one of the write-ups. I'm gonna kind of cut that out, pop that in there. And I'll probably cut most of this out, but just leave a little bit left to kind of massage in if I need to. So let's get to marking and cutting. I've got my template cut out, taped into place. You can kind of see the area where it's going to fit at. Pretty snug fit. I wish it was a little bit tighter on this side, but that's about where it's going to go. There. Okay, so what our objective is to cut an opening to where the intake tube and this filter will sit behind that. So we've got that there. I've traced my oval out, just taking a little Sharpie, of course, stencil. So ultimately, as long as I don't cut outside of this white area, I should be good. I've seen some videos and write-ups where they'll cut into this a little bit to make room for that filter. Yeah, that's fine, we might need to get to that. But the main thing is we don't want to go below this point right here, that level plane on the underside behind this, because that'll get into your heater core area, and we do not want to puncture that. So we'll start maybe this opening here and see how it goes. Maybe a little bit further because I don't think that filter will fit through that opening. So let's go a little bit wider than this. All right, I pulled the template off, got to looking at it and thinking there's no way that filter's gonna fit inside of that opening. So what I elected to do is go ahead and just mark out my corners. And I did pilot holes, and now I'm gonna open it up with something a little bit bigger. So that way whenever I cut this out with my blade, I'll get a nice round corner on the edge. So let's go ahead and do that now. Again, remember here at the bottom, you don't have very far before it goes into that firewall, so take this one nice and slow. That's it. So now for what's probably the most daunting part of this task is cutting into the firewall. This is probably what a lot of people are hesitant about doing, but we're not restoring some old Chevy or anything like that. This is an old beater, Comanche, Cherokee, whatever it is you're working on. Just suit up and have at it. So, see my larger holes, I'm just going to connect the dots and get cutting. Alright, that should about do it. Not too shabby. Alright, so now just do a little bit of cleanup. So I'll probably end up cutting some more into this, but kind of see the room that we're working with. So keep it out of the elements over there and pull air from up top. We should work out. And there is our opening. You can see this still not going to quite fit in. Very snug. So what I'm gonna have to do is right up here where you can see the Sharpie, I'll probably kind of give it a little bit of an arch. Open this up. This is 2 pieces of metal sandwiched together. We got a pinch seam here, so we'll take a little bit more effort to get through that, but okay. After cutting, found out a little bit of an issue. So I put that back in place. Now you can see I've got a void there. And that's not the end of the world. Again, this isn't some classic car I'm trying to restore or anything like that. And it's not even an issue as far as air gaps, because this is not gasketed or anything like that. So a little bit of air leakage there is fine. My big concern is that little bit of meat I have right there on that metal. Probably not enough to get a bolt onto it for my evap when it goes there. So hindsight, I'd probably watch this video that you guys are viewing now and be aware that don't use the template exactly. Maybe leave a little bit of meat right here before you cut. So just come in a little bit from where I did and you should be fine. So now I just need to clean it up and, like I said, cut a little bit up here to make room for that filter. I believe I am done cutting and trimming. You kind of see the opening, just the inside if you're curious. Now that filter hits that back firewall, so that is snug once it goes into it. So this is all the way touching the firewall, and you can see how much I trimmed up the top here. I could probably go just a little bit more. It is slightly touching the filter when it's resting in there, but I don't think we're getting around that. And made sure that I spray painted it. You know, I was joking around not restoring this thing, but I do not like rust, so I put some Duplicolor on it. Made sure I oversprayed everything possible because I don't want none of it to rust, including the dirt down there. But while I let that dry, I'm going to cut my evap bracket, this guy right here. You kind of see how I traced it out. Just kind of put it behind it here and lined up the holes to see where it would go and just eyeballed it. So I'll cut that out, and the silver lining is that I think once I put that on there, it'll cover up that gap that I'll have right here. So that may help out. We'll see how it turns out. This is probably what I'm most excited about. This goes away, particularly this, because anytime you touch it, just covered in black. This hose is just rotten dried out, so we're gonna pull this thing off, get rid of it, chunk it in the trash, let it go. So unclip all that, pull this hose off. That's going to get relocated later on, so hold on to that. Pull your clips off just like if you're changing your air filter. We don't want it anymore. That should be everything needed to get this off. Alright, come on. Last time messing with this hose ever. See what I mean? Anytime you touch it. that goes away. Of course, we'll take the filter box out too. That's easy enough, just 3 bolts in it. This comes out, clears the path for it. But now we can get that intake where it needs to go. So let's check that out. Alright, so let's get it set up. See, I've kind of pre-assembled it, got my filter on. It goes in. It's a little pretty tight fit. It is snug. And I'm struggling getting that filter where it needs to go. Show you this. See how tight that is? Real snug. So let me massage that into place and we'll get this hooked up. So it did not go in as easy as I thought. So what I actually did is disassembling it, shoving just the filter in here past the firewall, and then I shoved the tube inside of the filter with hose clamp on it, tighten it up while this was in here. The problem was is you have to kind of oval this filter to get it in there, and I couldn't do it with the tube attached. So I shoved it in past that point and then connected everything. Now this plate will go on. Got the tube lined up and everything else, so just have to secure our clamps and make sure that whenever you do this, this is not going to be in the way of your throttle or anything like that. So position this away. Same thing, make them easily accessible, but we just have to secure that, shoot some zip screws in there along with my new brackets, start cleaning everything up. Got one more screw to put in. Alright, probably needs to be a little bit longer, but that's in. No, it's not. Anyways, you get the picture. So we are all bolted up. I got my fasteners down, hose clamps, etc. Really, I guess the only thing left to do now is to modify this. So that's the elbow, of course, came off of there. I guess we could route it wherever we want. I think I like it there to get out of the way of the oil fill. So we'll just mark it right there. You can use a razor knife if you want to. Go ahead and mark it. And I'm going to use these PVC cutters if they work out. We'll see, they're kind of old and ragged. Cracked a little bit more than it did cut, but we can work with that. Put that in there. Rotate position. Boom, good to go. So everything's connected, all set. Yep, I guess the last thing to do, get rid of this junk, see what kind of room we got. Pull up my tool catch. There we go. All the extra room now. I achieved what I wanted to. Like I said, I want to clear out this area so I got room for coilovers and whatnot. I can gain access to all this stuff. Leaky power steering fluid I need to fix, but there you go. Key takeaways on the cutting. Maybe not do the whole template, but good majority of it. Remember, you're putting a round filter in a square hole, so you can leave the edges if you want to. I'd say that's about it. Everything else is pretty straightforward. You can see I've got my evap on it now, and so it kind of blocks that off, the bracket and everything, so I'm happy with it. It's on there, it's solid. Probably shake the whole truck, but like I said, looks much more cleaner. And of course, the advantage of having a somewhat of a snorkel where you're pulling air from the cowl up there instead of the air box, which mine wasn't hooked up all the way, so I was sucking in hot air anyways from the engine compartment. So maybe get a little bit cooler air up there, of course, out of the way, just cleans up the engine compartment. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, learned something, and yeah, see you next time, guys. All right.